Now, Lesotho's Diomile from Ghana, Stivo Atambire, Kenya's Pavilion and Musa, and South Africa's The Soil are some of the diverse creatives and artists that will headline the inaugural Folkore Festival set to take place at the National School of the Arts in Johannesburg next Saturday, the 1st of October. The festival is a celebration of African culture, customs and community, and it is the brainchild of some award-winning storyteller Philani Bubu, who joins us now on Zoom to tell us more. A very good morning to you, Philani. Warm welcome to Morning Live. Tell us about this festival. Where did it all start in the decision to establish a festival of this nature?
Sure. Good morning, Lebo. Well, Folklore started as a music project on my part as a singer-songwriter. I kind of wanted to tell stories of our people and kind of establish understandings of African practice, our identity, explore kind of these contexts, relationships between men and children and women. And so the album itself then birthed an entire conversation that I felt needed to be had beyond music. And so I started kind of Folklore Firesides and Folklore for Kids, which is really a knowledge share platform and a way in which we can kind of talk about our culture, share Indigenous knowledge systems. And so Folklore Festival is kind of an expansion of a conversation that's constantly ongoing in my head musically, but now, kind of in a multidisciplinary platform.
Yeah. So when you're having this conversation with yourself and people around you, how do you then decide who are you going to rope in for this festival? Because you've got Napo Mashiane as your MC, who knows spoken word, who's been in the industry for so long. So how do you then decide who to bring into the festival as the curator?
Right. Obviously, assuming that the festival is not only going to happen for 1 year, that we plan to kind of sustain it, but in year one and in any year coming, we're really looking for storytellers, people who really take the time to embed folklore, African stories, tales, proverbs in their music, but also in their theatre and also in writing. So beyond kind of the music platform and these artists who sort of embody this Indigenous share, we also have a book fair where we have African writers who write for African children's books, so that there's that sense of representation too. We also have workshops where we share kind of Indigenous instruments and drumming and poetry and African storytelling. But particularly on the musical side, some of these artists from Ghana, for instance, Stivo Atambire plays the kologo, which is a banjo from Ghana, originated in West Africa. Pavilion Musa plays the lyre, and he is also a maker of these instruments. So it's inspired really about those who want to preserve culture and preserve the knowledge and also move it forward in terms of their contemporary folk music.
And for you personally, why is that such an important aspect of it, preserving it?
Yes. So, how it began is that when I traveled and performed around the world, essentially as an African child, the unique story that I hold is to give people an understanding of my people. But then looking around, I was like, South Africa is so diverse and we're not taking the time to document these things, our folklore, and folklore being those things that are passed down through word of mouth. So in my mind, just kind of taking music as a technology, we kind of trying to capture this. The importance of capturing our stories and also unpacking our own identity is that the next generation need to lead with a sense of confidence around who they are. And it really is important to understand that we're building upon something. We don't kind of arrive in this space without something previous. And sort of years of working through colonialism, working through apartheid, this is the time in which we have to redefine and reimagine ourselves. And so how do we begin to do that when we're all living in these knowledge share silos? And so that's the importance of it, is kind of instilling a confidence that people have when they truly understand who they are, their own identity, but also able to evolve and build upon it and make it better, make our culture better, make ourselves better as Africans.
And I like the bit that you have a partnership with Ethnic Kids Books and literary part of the festival. Tell us a little bit about the authors that you've lined up for that bit.
Yes, Ethnic Kids Books, we started kind of doing Folklore for Kids with them 2 years ago during COVID, at the end of lockdown. And they really curate authors of African children's books. So it's about the idea that African kids need to see themselves in stories and kind of be represented. And so they'll be coming in and bringing in Zuleika Patel, Nozi, Zintle T. Matthews. There's a young author who is about 10 years old, Siavuya Matebe, who wrote a book called Enough Bullying, and more. So there's about 5 book authors in this running. The kids area will have a day filled with activities. We have drumming circles. We have this book fair intermittently. We have the Nedbank Mula Maze, which is edutainment for kids around, money, as well as some storytelling from Toys with Roots. Toys with Roots are all about sort of that performance play, children's riddles and rhymes, celebrating their own languages in that sense. So it's going to be a thrilling and an educational day in the kids area as well.
Yeah, and I believe the African School, National School of the Arts will perform African Reflections a little later then.
Yes, so our venue partnership with the National School of Arts is really driven around the idea of intergenerational dialogue. And what we are doing is that we're collaborating with them with their orchestra and a 35-piece choir, where we'll be performing a repertoire of music from North, South, East, and West Africa. And of course, some of the artists that are main staging will be guesting on there, like myself, Leomile, Stivo Atambira One Love, as well as Papillion. And they essentially just want to celebrate, African culture and African music across the board. It's their music led by their music department. And it's really going to be a celebratory approach to kind of the end of Heritage Month, and hopefully spewing some kind of inspiration for people to consider every day of their existence a level of culture and heritage that still needs to be embodied, maintained, and sought after.
What are you hoping to achieve with this festival? It's your inaugural one. I imagine the nerves are still there and you're still trying to feel, how this will go. But what are you hoping to achieve at the end of it all?
Right. At the end of this inaugural first one, hopefully, my biggest aim this year is to make sure that people know that this exists and that they can send us their stories of communities that they're a part of, that we can start to build into this community. We're really trying to build a sustainable community, and we're looking forward to year one. So in this sense, it's really about people knowing about us. We've managed to get support from, arts organizations like SABC Development Fund, as well as the National Arts Council and Nedbank, to be able to really put this on without worry, but rather focusing more on its intention, on its objectives, around social cohesion as well. It's a Pan-African festival. We really want to encourage people to come out from various parts of this continent who live in the village of Johannesburg. And so building that community going forward is really about them understanding that it does exist and that they pull through and they know about us.
All right, so I can't let you go without talking about Lockdown Love Story, which released at the end of March. I mean, how's that doing?
Well, Lockdown Love Story was a fun project. Lockdown Love Story was well received. We released a number of singles that kind of went on a number of playlists. We did a tour from Ghana to Kenya, South Africa, all over South Africa. I mean, if you name any city that people tend to travel to in this country, that's what it was. And I wanted the project to kind of be one of those like sessions, intimate sessions, where we explore how we all dealt with lockdown. And for me, it was a love relationship embodied in a beginning, middle, and end of something that others could kind of resonate with that story. But also it was a very bold project, very colorful. Wanted to kind of bring a post-pandemic mode to encourage people to show up, show love, and come out because, it's time. So that project went really well. Thank you so much for asking.
All right, Philani, thank you so much for talking to us. Good luck with the festival next week. Some award-winning storyteller, Philani Pupu, is the founder of the inaugural Folkore Festival, set to take place at the National School of the Arts in Johannesburg, in Braamfontein, up the road from us, the Saturday, the 1st of October. So don't miss it. They're just opposite the Joburg Theatre, if you know Joburg pretty well.